Hello, it's Dan Sue here, an active citizens facilitator from the UK, and I'm here to show you how we did an active citizens workshop online in Venezuela for a low connectivity workshop. So what I'm going to do is show you what we used, what we did, and then at the end, how we did it. Firstly, a bit of context. Our organisation based in London, UK, called Lyrics Organics, we partnered with the help of active citizens with the amazing Cultura Lyrica based in Venezuela, specifically Caracas, who do incredible work using hip hop as a tool for social change. Now, we were working with a cohort of about 15 to 30 freestyle rappers. The objective was to use the active citizens learning journey as a foundation for a 3-day series of workshops that also embedded music industry knowledge, particularly for the participants, artists who were looking to get their work seen internationally, whilst also maintaining their tool for social change, which is their voice.
Hola, ¿cómo estás, Venezuela? Today, in this particular section, what I'd like to cover with you is the potential possibilities that you guys out there, through your freestyle abilities, are able to turn that into real life job opportunities. So
the workshops were to take place on Zoom and WhatsApp only. This was because it is a low connectivity area, and potentially the participants have low digital literacy. In some cases, this even meant that parts of the group would have to cluster around people who had internet connection. If you can imagine, this would have impact on the design of some of the workshop activities. We would also, of course, have to strike a keen balance between engagement of the participants and also timing. There's a lot to fit into a short amount of time. And so as you'll see when we look at the workshop plan in a minute, we had to think carefully about how we adapt and shorten certain activities. And of course, another key difference was language. We were delivering the workshops in both English and in Spanish with the help of simultaneous translation. Let's take a dive into what it looked like. These slides were created on Canva, really cheap, simple and easy to use. And as you can see, normally day 2 of the Active Citizens program would be Me and You, or Intercultural Dialogue. Now, we decided to rename this to keep it in theme. We called it Cypher, and in hip hop culture, a cypher is simply 2 or more people who are having dialogue through the medium of rap. Because of language barriers, we decided to keep the visuals as simple as possible. We then had a recap of the previous day, including the tools that we were going to use. We also took a moment to revisit the river, the important metaphor that underpins the active citizens learning journey. And we used this to explore the relationship between hip hop freestyle. What happens when you have confrontations? How do you reach agreements? What is dialogue, and what does that mean in the context of our journey together? We then recontextualize this as visually as possible by revisiting the 4 modules and understanding where we are on this journey. And then we launched into our first activity of the day. And this is important for low connectivity workshops, to keep it simple. Now, we wanted to lean on people's skills and talents, but also using the limited resources that we have. So we were very clear when we moved from Zoom onto WhatsApp. And in this case, we invented an exercise called What's Rap, which was simply a freestyle. So very simply, we would ask them a question such as, if freestyle was a person, who would they be? What would their character be? What would they be wearing? How would they speak? And we asked the participants to give a 90-second rap freestyle about that. They would then post that video on WhatsApp, writing their name and also their artist name.
It's so hard to say it, but I feel that freestyle is not a person. Just say it. Because when you start to improvise, that's when you realize that you are the person that freestyle represents. So don't try to put words into something that is actually impossible to describe. Actually, just remember that which you feel inside is probably the best definition that freestyle will ever provide. Through a freestyle. Okay, whatever.
As we started to build up these videos on WhatsApp, there was a real sense of excitement and engagement, and that the participants were given the space to show their skills and get stuff off their chest. Meanwhile, for us facilitators, it was a good opportunity for us to see the personalities and the talent that were in the group.
Estamos listos todos, vinieron, vamos. Un freestyle sobre la community. Mira, rapeando, yo soy un pipí. Quieren ganar.
We then used the What's Rap freestyle activity to move seamlessly into Module 2. Specifically, we were going to use power of questions. Now remember, hip hop artists are very adept with words, and words become weapons. And so we looked at the power of intercultural dialogue and how powerful questions can be in order to unlock dialogue. Now there were two approaches to this, one on WhatsApp and one on Zoom. To stay on WhatsApp, it's very simple. We just ask participants to tag someone else in the group and think of a question that will make them smile, proud, or maybe trigger an emotion. This could also be done by private message if that was suitable. Another way of doing it via Zoom is to use breakout rooms. Again, think of a question that will make someone smile or proud, and then people could move freely in and out of their own breakout rooms as they wish, and asking random people those questions. Either way, they would all have the same outcome. This was then followed by a debrief, which culminated in this quote from Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Later on day 2, we brought through a special guest, and as with every single day, we sectioned a part of it especially for music industry knowledge, so the participants could get some career professional advice and development. Now, Serco Fu was a particularly great guest. He hails from Mexico and is considered a bit of a rap god across Latin America. Indeed, he hosts the Hip Hop Freestyle Championships of Latin America, and this got the Venezuelan participants particularly excited. And this built bridges between the hip hop communities between Venezuela and Mexico, which are still ongoing. Now, Serco Food stayed for a really long time. He hung out with the participants, he listened to them rap, he answered their questions, he gave them advice and wisdom about the music industry. And this is something that we were embedded into every single day. We invited each of our guests to the workshops, but also because of connectivity, we asked them to create a series of top 5 tips for their particular discipline, so that we could have digital whenever content, asynchronous content that the participants could access whenever was convenient for them. This ranged from freestyle tips.
Vigila tu lenguaje corporal. Ese es el tercer consejo que tengo para ti. El lenguaje corporal puede revelar tanto o más información que las palabras. Sin darnos cuenta, nuestro cuerpo...
Through to performance.
Number 2 is be real. Talk about things that are relevant to you, your struggles, your culture, your heritage.
Through to how to release music internationally with industry experts. After a fun and insightful Q&A with every guest, we would finish the day with what we called Zoom Freestyle Tag. This was an attempt to replicate the freestyle cypher scenario, but doing it on Zoom. And it's just about finding little clever tricks in simple apps that may be able to help you. So for example, in Zoom, you can raise your hand. Now typically in a cypher, you don't raise your hand and then start rapping, you lock eyes or you follow body language. Broadly, we use the fishbowl dialogue activity in the Active Citizens Toolkit as a model, i.e. you have a certain amount of people, typically 4 to 6 people, on screen at any one time. Everyone else has their microphones off, and then they put up their hand. By putting up their hand, that was a signal that they were about to enter. And when one person leaves, one of those people with their hand steps into the ring. That is Zoom Freestyle Tag. We set up 2 WhatsApp groups, one for the activity on the given day, and the other one which is a more broad admin one. If anyone needs some extra support, has any questions that fall outside of the workshop. This was really important to keep communications clear. Now I wanted to take a moment to show you how we did it. To take something that's potentially really complicated with lots of challenges, to distill it into something very simple for a low connectivity environment, and how we can plan with flexibility and fluidity. This is what the workshop plan looked like. If you're familiar with events, theatre, live music, you'll be familiar with this core sheet format. Let me take you through it. Now, as you can see up here, for the 3-hour workshop, we split this into 5 parts. 2 45-minute chunks, a break, followed by 2 of our guests and the group cipher. At the top here you'll see time, both for Venezuela and for the UK, the duration of each activity, who's leading it, what the activity is, the platform that's being used, any assets that are needed, any notes to remind us, and also, because we were working with a simultaneous translator, specific notes for them. So as you can see, we've broken down each chunk into 15, maybe 10 minutes. Now, you'll see here on this very unique occasion, we had a rap freestyle, almost like a performance halfway through. We understood, due to the nature of the participants, that we really had to keep it engaging and entertaining. So in this case, we treated the workshop a little bit like you would do a live stream or a TV program. So that's how we did it. We tried to distill it and keep it simple, but in order to do that, we used a very detailed work plan. My tips are regular breaks, time away from the screen, engage in quick activities, keep it light, lean into people's skills and interests, and have a fluid and flexible workshop plan that both you and your co-facilitator and anyone else involved is working to, like a script. Good luck, have fun.